Here's an average car park, all right? Just been shopping there and just looked in there. I tell you what, I was in that place, B&M. You're right. Oh, her son just went off his head and smashed up the place, broke a load of windows, didn't he? That is your standard conversation in there. It was amazing. Anyway, back to the story. All of these cars, at the moment, under the British rules, are subject to, let's turn this around, are subject to an MOT. This is a once a year periodic safety check to make sure that the vehicles are roadworthy, and rightly so. Every vehicle within a certain age limit has to have an MOT. So if you buy a new vehicle, you don't need to take it for an MOT for the first 3 years. Then after that, it goes in for an MOT every year. And if some of you who may not be aware of what an MOT is, some of you over country, some other country or whatever, an MOT is a Ministry of Transport certificate to say that your vehicle is roadworthy at the time of inspection. Of course, you could go down the road and you get a chip in the windscreen, or a light could go out, or anything can happen, and then the vehicle's not roadworthy. But what it said is basically, at the time of inspection, it was deemed fit for the British roads. Obviously, you have to keep on top of your vehicle, and you have to do periodic checks yourself. So before you get in a vehicle, in theory, nobody does, but you are meant to, well, unless you're a lorry driver, then you have to do it every time. You have to do walk around checks. Tires inflated, are the tires in good shape, not perished, cracked, bowled, whatever? Are all the lights visible, number plate visible, all the windows clear that you need to see through? Are your mirrors there? All the rest of it, right? All of this stuff you're supposed to do before you get on any journey, because there is somebody waiting around the corner who will pull you up and point you in the right direction of a fine. Also, possibly give you a ticket to say that the vehicle's not to be driven on the road until repaired. We used to call that, years ago, a 14-day wonder. It wasn't you're not allowed to drive it, actually, in saying that, so I was wrong there. We used to have a 14-day wonder when I was a kid. I got one all the time because I was driving a bag of shit Capri that literally, it wasn't roadworthy and it wasn't MOT'd, and I got done numerous times for it, but it was actually cheaper to pay the fine than fix the thing. However, nowadays you'd be done for no insurance, because if you don't have an MOT, it voids your insurance. A bit like if you don't have any tax, it voids your insurance. All these things have come about since I've been driving, but at the time when I passed my test, it was just cheaper not to tax and drive your car without an MOT, as long as you were insured. Anyway, that was when I was younger and I was very naughty, and all my vehicles are roadworthy because I just don't need the bother. But what they're thinking of doing, this is the whole point of this video, right, is they're thinking about making it a 2-yearly event. Now, they're saying they're doing this to reduce the cost of living, but if you believe that, I'll tell you one about pigs that can fly. There's a reason for this. What they actually want to do is reduce the amount of cars on the road. And you'd think, well, hang on a minute, if they're making it every 2 years, they last an extra year or whatever. No, it doesn't work like that. If you take your car for an MOT and it fails on a small amount, chances are you'll probably get it fixed. However, if you leave it 2 years and the thing is hanging and they give you a sheet as long as your arm, the chances are you'll probably scrap it and there's another car off the road, which is exactly what they want. Remember, you'll have nothing and you'll be happy. But not just that. What they'll also do is they'll set up road checks more often, which they can earn a rather large revenue, because your tracking's out, so therefore your tyres are knackered, or you've got a ball joint gone, or you've got an anti-roll bar link gone, or you've got, I don't know, your exhaust is leaking, or any amount of faults. Because in the Isle of Man, years ago, I believe, they didn't have an MOT, but you had to prove that your car was roadworthy and they'd stop check you. Well, we'll probably end up with roadside checks like they do for lorries, and you'll end up with rather large sums of money that you've got to pay out for fines for a vehicle that you were driving around in that wasn't roadworthy because you're not a mechanic. Not everybody is au fait on cars. There are so many people I know that are driving around with the wrong tyre pressures, possibly even the wrong tyres on. They've got lights out, they've got cracks in the windscreen, they've got empty washer bottles. That's an offence. All of these different things that are probably wrong with the average car that the average person may not know about, these roadside checks will pick you up and you'll pay dearly. And they may even seize the vehicle under new legislation I'm sure they'll bring out to go along with it. But that's not the end of it. Some of you may have heard about the E10. Now, the crack is that the original super unleaded was E5, right? And that's what anybody with an older vehicle is running on at the moment, because their cars will not like E10. Seriously, if you're running your old car on E10, you're in for a load of problems. It eats through the gaskets, the seals. It causes corrosion on certain parts of the metal. It's brutal. But I believe that it's some sort of fuel that's derived out of, I don't know, plant form of subscription. I don't know enough. Bio, whatever it is. However, I tried my new generator on this E10 and it had a fit. It wouldn't run properly. It spat a load of it out, threw its toys out the pram. It was like, you know what it's like to try and feed a toddler that doesn't like what you're feeding? It spits it all out. It's like that. It's like, you're like, oh God, look at the mess you've made. And that was my generator. Now that was E10. Well, Biden, over in America, now what happens there quite often happens here, so be aware, has released a load of banned fuel to help the economy, because fuel's so pricey, right? So he's released E15. So I thought E10 was bad. What the flipping end? What in God's name is E15 going to do to your car? Because they admit, now if you look it up on Google, it will admit that E10, most cars can run on it, but at reduced performance. What's E15 going to do? We'll be crawling around in first gear with the limp mode on and choking our cars up and just very quickly killing them. So this is their little plan. Now, there are some clever people out there that know how to take that product out of the fuel. It's illegal, by the way. So I won't go any further, but there are people that know how to do it. And there's videos out there as well. But there you go. But this is their plan to get all the old vehicles off the road. And it's quite a clever one, really, because they're sort of forcing you into a corner where you don't have an option. Something interesting to notice, because they're saying the price of fuel so much because of what Russia is doing or what the Middle East or all these different reasons. Why is it that we're buying barrels of crude in at the same price as we were when it was really high in 1992? Yeah, I was paying 52 pence a litre back then. I ain't now, I can tell you. So why? That's how much they got it for, so why? And I can tell you simply, our government are making this happen. Your government are actually punishing you because they want to meet this 2030 zero emission green agenda bollocks. Why? Well, because they're being greased. It's in their interest. There are people who lobby them. There are people that make it financially more... the incentive is there. And so these greedy bastards, they get caught wanking over a tractor, allegedly. You know the ones. Incidentally, I've got 2 tractors. Do you know, it's quite funny, right? I bought this tractor, this old ropey old Fergie, a Massey Ferguson. It's a 145. Now, I didn't think a 145 was a classic, but apparently it is, and I didn't know this. I thought I'd just drive this thing down the field. Well, I took it to this garage, and they restore tractors, and he went, you've got to get that repaired. I went, why? He went, it's 145. I went, what does that mean? He went, the rear is rocking or shit. I went, okay. So now it's being restored. So they've stripped it right back to nothing and they're jet washing it, right? And they did a video of it. And I just thought, can I sell that as tractor porn? You know, tractor undressed, taking a shower. Just a thought. But anyway, there you are. I just thought I'd mention to you about this MOT and this possible, well, the C15. It hasn't happened over here, but it is happening over in America. And I want your opinions on stuff. So tell me. Incidentally, I'm thinking that next weekend, because I'm going to be working every weekend, I am going to bring away the kit so that I can do a live stream. I may even do it at Callum's from Lotus Theatres, because I might, I don't know yet, because I went round to his. The boy is a case. He's absolutely mental, and so is John. But there you go. Right, so I hopefully will have them on. Oh no, they won't. I can't. No, next weekend they're doing something else. All right. Well, I'll be on my own anyway. No worries. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in a bit.